Okay, welcome to Picky Pal. We're back with the 206 2 litre HDI. This time it's Cambelt change. Mileage is due 100,000, but it's on a Y plate, it's got no registered change, so it's overdue on time as well. Plus, I want to do the water pump, coolant change, and auxiliary belts shredding itself. So the first thing I want to do is do a coolant flush. Now there's a bit of a trick to that if you haven't got any coolant flush, and that's dishwasher tablets. So first thing I'm going to do is drain the coolant out. I don't know if you can see it down there, but just beyond the bottom rad pipe there's a little plug, and I'm going to open that, drain out the system, flush it through with a handy hose, and then fill it out with water, bleed the system and just have straight water in it, and put one of these in the header tank and one of these in the top pipe, generic dishwasher tablets, and then I'm going to run it up, just idle, don't drive, until it's warm, until it's clean out the system, and then I'll flush it thoroughly with some water because it's a bit gunky in there, and then we'll go to the next step, which will be starting to actually do the Cambelt. But that's what the first thing we're going to do. So let's drain the coolant first and go to the next update with the flush, just to show you what's been done. Remove the airbox for ease of access to the pipes. I couldn't be bothered with that bottom clip anymore, it's so tight, so I just whipped off the bottom hose, gives it a proper flush anyway. Took the top hose off and then been shoving some water basically down there. We'll do the same with each of the pipes, just all I'm doing is basically getting a hose and just shoving it in one of the pipes like that, and then just turn the hose on and it just flushes the system out a little bit, and then we'll refill it with the water, put dishwasher tablets in it and then just run it up until it's warm. You don't want it hot, you obviously don't want it overheating, can't focus camera, and then flush the system again, but taking even more care to flush it the second time, make sure there's no cleaning agents in there anymore. So that's where we're at. So this is where we're at. I thought I'd show you how we've got here. For easy access, I like to remove anything that's easy to remove. First thing I took off was the earth point on the battery. That's just for safety purposes really. Make sure you get a radio code if you need one before you do that. And then access to this, it's just about possible with the ECU in place, but really tricky. So unfortunately there's a nut that goes on here, or a bolt I should say, that goes through here, and I don't know if you can see on the camera, but what Peugeot do is they put a little spot of weld on it to make it secure, I don't know. So I had to whack that off with a chisel, a little bit of spot of weld just there, and then I could undo that from underneath, and that gets the ECU out of the way. I had to remove the top of the washer bottle as well, and that gives you lots more access where you're going to need it later on. Underneath, obviously we've jacked it up and secured it on an axle stand, remove wheel archer and peeled that back, don't have to fully remove it, and then there's another little inner splash guard there. Now the next stage is to remove the belt. You can probably see how perished that is. It's also missing one of its ribs, so we'll check for anything wrong in there, but I suspect it's just old. This is the manual adjuster, and then there's an automatic tensioner up there as well. Probably want to undo both, as in undo that one, slack that off, hold the tensioner back, take the belt off, it gives you the most amount of slack possible. Just remember the sort of area you've had it if you're replacing the belt. If you're not replacing the belt, but as we're replacing it, that's not a problem. So we'll get the belt off and we'll get to the next stage, which could be the trickiest stage without an airline. Okay, so auxiliary belt's off. How do you know when your auxiliary belt's worn? Well, it's missing a rib, and it's like that, all crackly and lovely. Oh, come on, focus. Yeah, lovely. Anyway, so that's off. FYI, you'll need a 15mm spanner. You can just see up the top there, you can put a little locking pin in. But the only problem is, when I find when doing the Cambelt on these, is the pin then gets in the way when you're taking covers off and trying to fit the new Cambelt. So I'll leave that off for now. It's a bit it's a bit trickier trying to get it on, but it's not that difficult really. Right, so next thing is to undo this. Now an air gun would be lovely right now, but I haven't got one. So the first trick will be put it in gear, get Mrs. Piggy out here, get her to put her foot on the brake, and we'll see if it'll undo. Right, well that worked a treat. So I just used long bar, 22mm, with a nice big breaker bar, and I got engine in gear, Mrs. Piggy in the car, foot on the brake, and it came undone quite sweetly. Then I've nipped it back up because we haven't timed the engine back up yet, So just crack off the initial difficulty, nips it back up, and now I've kept it in gear and wanged a screwdriver into the caliper, into the vented disc. Seems a bit of a bodge, but I've always used that method and it's always worked well. So that holds the engine in place in gear and helps you undo that. Well, until later we need to turn the engine, obviously. So we're going to pull this screwdriver out now, and then we need to time up the engine. So the way we do that, let's get it out of gear. This is obviously this pump on the HDI is not timed up, so we don't have to worry about that, unlike the old XUDs and indirect injection diesels. We do need to time up the cam, and we use a pin for that. Just got a bolt like that. Keep meaning to make proper pins, but it does work. Just an M8 bolt. And then for the crank, I made this years ago. Just ground it down to the right size, and that pin goes in down under there somewhere. A little hole just behind the starter that goes through into the flywheel and locks the flywheel. So we'll take the top cover off, which is just a bolt here. We'll get it close to where the cam needs to be, and then we'll lock the flywheel and then make sure the top pin goes in, and that's it, timed up. And then we can take the crank pulley off, press the time bolts off, and we'll show you the next stage. Just thought I forgot to mention at the beginning, the reason I'm showing you this isn't to go, oh look at me, is perhaps to help those that aren't sure about doing this sort of job themselves. It's an expensive job to have done at a garage, for obvious reasons, and the parts are quite pricey too. So if you're a competent DIY mechanic and you're worried about doing this, as you can see, hopefully this video, you can do it too. So happy to help. We'll update the next stage. Note, I thought I'd throw in, there's 3 bolts on that top Cambelt cover. A lot of people struggle because they forget or don't know about the one down the back. You see it's quite tight to find it, but it's a 10, the head is 10mm. Hoping you can see that, and that's the edge of the spanner on that nut, so it's a fair way down the back. But you won't get the top cover off without that one. 3 in all. Right, crack on. You can just see the odd bolt down there. This one, that's the timing pin. Gone through the little slot on the pulley and into the head. That's the only place that one can go. There is 2 holes on the fly, as it turns out, on this one. I don't remember that being on the 306s, but it is on this one. Let me just try and show you where that timing pin goes, because it is critical. If you've got a timing pin, you might as well use it. I'm going to shine it through the torch. You can just see the red. Well, that's where the timing pin is. You see that? There. Goes in just in a little hole there behind the starter. Pops in the flywheel. And the way I did that is I held that, pushing against the flywheel gently, and then turned the flywheel with my other hand until it's slotted in, and then checked it up with the cam point. All slotted in nicely. So perfect. So now we can take the crank pulley off, which is here. Take that off, 22mm, take the bottom covers off, and take the belt out. Here we go. Okay, so as you can see, we've taken the top engine mount off. Main reason being, well, you have to take it off to get the Cambelt off, but also allows you to move the engine up and down, give you a bit of access. Support the engine with a jack and a nice chock of wood as we damage the sump, and then taking the lower covers off as well. Oh, sorry. And then this gives us access to see the tensioner, which is that one up there, water pulley, and the idler, all which will be changed. You can see that actually the water pump, even though I didn't suspect it, it's all been fine, it's been leaking a little bit, so good thing we've got one. It's a question I get asked regularly: when I change the Cambelt, do I need to change everything else, get a kit and a water pump? Well, answer is no, of course you don't. But when you get to this stage and you get the belt off and you realise that your bearings on these are rattly and your water pump's leaking, you'll think you wish you had. Because you either got to wait until the parts arrive, or you got to put it all back together again and do the job again another time when it all breaks. So, in my experience, it's always worth getting a full kit. And if the Cambelt runs the water pump, get a water pump as well, because the effort to do the job, might as well. So we need to release that 13mm up there. My finger on it, that one there, and that tension of the Cambelt will come off. It's all timed up, so we're all nice and safe. So let's do that. And halfway stage, pretty much. Just thought I'd give you info. As I said, the tensions are 13mm, the idlers is 16mm. And for some random reason, when everything else in a French car is like 10s, 12s, 13s. This is an 11. You're already taking this one out when you took the bottom cover off. So there's 4 more bolts to take off to get the water pump off. Water pump's actually in pretty good condition, other than it was leaking a bit. But as I say, 100,000 miles, it's not going to do another 100,000. Tensioner pulley, definitely worn. Lots of play in that. Not sounding too bad, loads of play. That was alright, I'm going to replace it anyway, and the belt was definitely worn. Really badly worn, and a bit slack too. So we've got replacement auxiliary belt, replacement full kit, and our new water pump, which all looks nice and dandy. All the parts cost about £60. If you look around for them, you know what you're looking for. It's a Gates kit as well, nothing cheap, so all ready to good to go. So what we're looking at, by the way, get a bucket ready because you will get water out. I'll need to take off that gasket. If our lovely phone will just focus for a second. Take off that gasket round the water pump, clean that up, and we go water pump, idler, tensioner back on, and belt back on. So we'll just get that new water pump in and show you where. Okay, so here we are with the new belt on. There's no arrows for rotation. I always like the writing out this way. Don't know, maybe that's just a thing that I do. All our new tensioner, idler and pump are on. You need to fit the belt anti-clockwise from the crank, so around the crank, around the idler, around the pump, to the cam and back round. And then tensioning, you just need a little square drive on the tensioner, 13mm. Turn the square drive anti-clockwise. And tension, well, it's the kind of thing that you either put an official gauge on, which is really expensive, or it's about feel a little bit, but generally if you can twist it but not quite to 90 degrees, that's pretty good tension. So we'll pop the bottom cover on and the bottom pulley, take the time pins out, turn it over twice, make sure there's no problems. If you do turn it and you get resistance, then stop, go back, check your time pins again. But with timing pins there shouldn't really be a problem because everything's locked in place. Check your tension again, and then we can go and put everything back on again. So I'll be doing all that now in a bit of a faster way, probably a time lapse, but that's pretty much it. So all you need to do from now is reverse the process, fit everything back on, and you're done. Okay, so engine started. I didn't video that because I always nearly wet myself, even though I'm confident in it. And put the wheels back on, splash pads back on, everything's back on other than the engine cover, and there's no coolant. So I've got some long life coolant, 3 litres of it, and then I've topped it up with water, so there's 5 litres in here. And I've got the 2 bleed screws open. There's one on the thermostat housing and one on the matrix pipes. So I'm going to do it without the engine running initially. I like it just to bleed itself out. Just keep an eye out for when it starts. Oh, missed that clip. Back on there. Oh, like that. Keep an eye out for when it starts bleeding out. It's likely that it'll come out the matrix pipes first in this car. Other cars it doesn't. On the XUD it comes out the thermostat housing first. There's no bleed screw on the radiator. I don't know if you can see it over here. but there's a top pipe for the rad that goes back up, so the radiator will bleed itself, thankfully. Right, nearly empty. Nearly empty. Right, that's that first load in. Oh, and I just got a little bit of water there coming out the matrix. So let's move you and see if you can you see it? There you go, I'm just going to put a bit more in. Like a nice stream coming out, there we go. And notice you've got coolant coming out that you've just put in, the fresh. So I'm pretty confident there's no stops in that feed of water coming out there. So get that screw on there, don't over tighten it because it is only into a rubber housing. That's lovely. Right, the next one is here, you see it? We've got our cap ready. There we go. Hopefully. This one we might need to get the bit of pressure going. Right, we need to get some more water. So let's pause this and come back. So back on it, right, here we go. Bit more water in there. I realised I only had 4 litres in first container, so we've put about 5.5 in so far. This might not be so easy to bleed this point out. Come on. Oh. It'll take a while, this. What we might just do is get the engine running. Oh, here we go. There we go. And when we've got a constant stream, let's just cough in a bit. Just get a bit more water to get more pressure back there. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's lovely. Brilliant. Right. And then that's good. So we'll get the engine running, we'll get it up to temp, and then we'll check the levels again. So that's it, Cambelt change done. Don't forget, it's well worth sticking it in your service history book if you've got it. Make a note of the date. There's also these little stickers you can get. Bits you can put your mileage on it when you've done your 2 belts, and the numbers of them as well for next time. But hopefully, well, if you do 1,000 miles on this, it'll be amazing. So there we go. Cambelt change on a 2 litre HDI. I know it's dark now, but it's because the sun's lazy this month. So it takes about 2 to 3 hours. It took me about 3 hours, I suppose, but I had a couple of things to do in the meantime. So good afternoon's work, good evening's work in the summer, and you're done. So click subscribe if you like this and want to see some more. And also, of course, you can follow me on Twitter, PiggyPowerXUD, PiggyPowerXUD. And if you have any problems with the little jobs you're doing, you can always tweet me, and I'll hope I can help out. Thank you very much for watching.